Hello, my name is Ashish Mandal. I work for Action for Social Advancement, and today I'm very pleased to start a new initiatives that we are starting, which is like going to talk about the farmer producers organization, specifically on the farmer producer companies, because all you know that there is a lot of discussions going on around the farmer producer companies, and there is a lot of work also on the ground happening after the Government of India's special 10,000 FPO program which has been launched a couple of years ago. I have with me Dr. Sukhpal Singh. Many of you know him. He has been researching on this subject since its inception, and besides he has very practical experience of farmer producers companies, because he is very passionately researching on this subject. Dr. Sukhpal Singh is working with the Center for Management in Agriculture with IIM Ahmedabad, and Doctor has almost 30 years of researching experience, including contract farming. He is very well known writer, and many of you have also listened to him in many very forums or might have read his articles. So welcome Dr. Sukhpal Singh for this conversation.
Thank you, Ashish, for making me part of this series on FPOs and introducing me very well. Let me say it's a pleasure for me to be part of this, because I'm at ASA campus today, which is first time for me, and I look forward to very productive interaction between two of us on this issue. But let me tell the audience that Mr. Ashish Mandal is the founder director of ASA, Action for Social Advancement, which is more than 25-year-old premier organization in the domain of rural livelihoods, especially on taking the challenge of promoting farmer producer organizations, especially farmer producer companies, for the last 18 years, starting in Madhya Pradesh, and it has been growing leaps and bounds in this domain. Today it has more than 90 producer companies across 7 or 8 states of India, and I don't think there's anybody better than you to talk about this issue, because you have first-hand, hands-on experience of mobilizing farmers, small and marginal farmers, especially women farmers, into groups and then into farmer producer companies and making them work. So I really look forward to your contribution in this discussion.
Tell me one thing, that you have been watching this FPO, FPC since the beginning, right? I mean, if I remember correctly, way back in 2008 or 9, you probably did a first write-up on the FPOs, and few of our FPCs were part of that study. And you have this advantage of getting a bird's eye view of what is happening with the FPO, FPCs since then. My question is that what is your general view about this new format of farmers institution, and which direction, and what is the kind of directions that you are seeing it's going towards? That's my, yeah.
Okay. I think I treat this move from traditional cooperative structure to farmer producer or producer company structure a great legal institutional innovation in India. And I think India is one of the few developing countries which has taken this lead. Before India, Sri Lanka had tried this in the early 90s. They called it farmer companies, which was all state promoted, and most of them really didn't work out at all. And we don't talk about it other than the history of it now. But in India, I think it holds a great promise, because this is something which makes the people's institutions, actually farmers' organizations, completely free from government intervention and control, unlike the traditional cooperative structure. Yeah. Since I have been part of this from the...
In fact, these are the 2 points, I mean, very clearly mentioned in the Alag committee report, that they wanted to decontrol it from the government control or that kind. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Therefore, I think if you're talking about really people's institutions, and people's institutions which are relevant in a globalized, liberalized market environment, then there cannot be any better legal structure than this. Therefore, I am really very optimistic about the way forward for small and marginal farmers in terms of their collectivization to benefit from this structure. And as you can see with your own organization, many civil society organizations have taken a lead on this. And today we are talking about thousands of such new entities called farmer producer companies, though some people call it FPO, but FPO is nothing but mostly farmer producer companies,
Exactly,
because this
exactly.
is something new. Other types of farmer organizations have been with us earlier. So this is a break from the past, and also I think there is a lot of excitement in the sector because civil society organizations and many farmer groups have been looking for an alternative which can be more market or business like. And this legal structure or entity provides that kind of structure, and therefore one can really hope that this could take us forward in terms of helping small and marginal farmers in improving their livelihoods through better market linkages. Because I believe that India's small and marginal farmers are very efficient. They are the most productive of all the categories of farmers in India. Only thing they are missing is that they are not able to deal with markets effectively in terms of buying from the market or selling in the market. I call it, if we can give them better buying and better selling platforms, then they can really scale new heights in terms of better livelihoods.
Correct.
So here the promise has been great, but the practice I think leaves much to be desired. One, that we are already back to some kind of government targets in this. That you talked about 10,000 new FPOs being targeted, promoted by the government of India for the last couple of years, in the next 3 to 5 years. That is one worry one has, that when you are talking about creating people's institutions, that too for business, it can't be in terms of targets. It has to be felt need based. It has to be business like. People have to own them. Yeah. And also I think these kind of institutions need business models which are very, very neat, so that they can perform the most important function of such organ, which is to do good business first and then do other things, social, economic, cultural, whatever. So I still am hopeful that despite all the defaults which have happened on the way since 2003, we still can make something out of it.
Yeah, but you said there's this target approach by the government for 10,000 FPOs. I do also agree with you, but there's a flip side of it also, as I look at it. At least this program of the government for promotion of 10,000 FPOs, as we know all that, when it comes to the implementation, there are various flaws, which is bound to happen in a country like ours. But at the same time, which is undeniable, according to me, that it has created some amount of ripple in the sector. If you today look at the financial products that are available for the FPOs, it probably wouldn't have happened had there been no such kind of momentum. So this 10,000 program, FPO program, has given a momentum to this for developing an ecosystem, which is very much required for the FPO to function. Similarly, if you see that number of promoting institutions few years ago and today the numbers, I'm sure, if you go by with that, the assumption that there will be 90% of them will fail, but even the 10%, the number will still be good, that to create that kind of movement in the FPO journey. So we do have a kind of balance kind of situation at the moment. My point further is to you that through your research, you are doing, I have seen some of your papers, and you have been doing some case studies like women-led FPOs, how are they doing, or some small farmer FPOs, how are they doing. What is your sense? I'm sure those FPOs which you are selecting for case studies, they are probably the best, right? But still, are you getting a sense that their direction is correct, or in terms of their promoting institutions, or what they have been able to do crack so far in the business segment? What is your kind of?
I think I agree with you on this, that at least this government promotion of this kind of entity has brought a lot of public investment into the sector, which was much needed.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no denying of that fact. But the issue is also that are we scattering this investment too thinly across the sector, across the country, across the states and so on, that one can still question. So far as the performance of these entities is concerned, from my previous research of 2010-11, which was published in 2014, 25 case studies from 4 states, including some of the ASA promoted and handheld producer companies, and the recent one which is under publication now, 35 case studies from 5 states, again shows that it's not that we chose only the successful ones, we chose those which were at least 3-year-old.
Okay.
And we chose from those promoters which were working across more than one state at least, so that there's some scale, some significance of those promoters, not those promoters or civil society which were doing 1 or 2 PCs. That would not really help us much. So what I found was that some of them are doing very well, some are struggling, and some are not even making a beginning. Now this varies from state to state. Like earlier we used to talk about fertile grounds in cooperatives, Professor Vaviskar's work, that Maharashtra, Gujarat were doing very well, others were not doing so well. Again, we are seeing similar phenomena here also. If you look at the absolute numbers of farmer producer companies in India today, more than 50% are only in Maharashtra and UP. So there is something about it. And if you look at the recent report, survey report from Maharashtra, which shows that only 16% are on the ground, though Maharashtra has more than 6,000 such entities now. So what I found, the one major learning which came across from both the studies was that those entities which are based on some pre-existing organizational structure like self-help group, farmer interest group, and promoted by civil society organizations which work with communities have better chances of survival and success.
Okay. Okay.
Unlike those which are just promoted based on individual farmer shareholding and membership by outside agencies, external agencies which are called CBBOs now, who may not have any community presence. That is one part.